Hey everybody, welcome back. We are going to today talk about the stitch that we're going to do for our color change square. This is our final square in the group. It's not even close to being the end of the actual blanket. It's just the final square. We're going to do some extra little goodies on some of our more plain squares to kind of dress them up a little bit and kind of pull all the colors together. But for right now, we're going to work on the color change square, which is super exciting, and they go really fast. Both of these stitches are pretty quick. So I think you're going to like it. We did a little poll. I had, I think, 5 different stitches to choose from. It's funny because the ones that won were the ones that I was actually most drawn to. So there was a little bit of time there where the granny stitch, which was the one that had the groups of 3, was leading, and I think that that's a very important stitch to learn because it's sort of the basic stitch for when you're crocheting, and you'll see it a lot in the squares, a lot of granny squares and things like that. And we'll probably, if we decide to continue on to other projects, we'll probably touch on that one. It's a pretty easy stitch to do, so it's a lot of fun, and there's lots of tutorials about it if you want to look into it. In fact, I can actually link a tutorial if you want to go and do your own granny stitch squares instead of these two. But for these, I'm going to do a video to kind of show you how they're done. One thing I do want to tell you on this one, this is the Larksfoot, which is the one that actually won, which is funny because when I was first looking for color change squares, this was the one that I was most drawn to, just because it does have kind of an ombre effect to it, which is fun. Or you can make it very, you can have, you know, different stitches or different colors that are contrasting. So it can be not ombre if you want to, but I like it this way. And it's actually a set of 2 double crochet height on all of them. So it'll be interesting how this is all going to work out as far as how tall it's going to go. But I did figure out the length on it, and I think it's going to go really fast. I did this really quickly. So a lot of fun. This one I did choose to put it not next to the green squares because my green squares are the open weave, and these are a little bit open weave too. So I put this next to the gray and the blue squares just because those are a little bit more closed. So you don't have a lot of openness right next to each other. It might be a little bit busy. But anyway, so this is the Larksfoot square that we're going to do. And then our runner-up was this one called the Floret Stitch. And I actually really enjoyed this one because it has this kind of cool texture on it. But if you look at the back, it's just plain double crochet. So that kind of gives us some cool things that we can do because, you know, either way, you're going to have double crochet stripes on one side of your blanket, which will look great. Or you can have this cool texture on one side. And Bailey actually suggested to me that you could flip them back and forth. For me, I would probably do them all textured on one side and non-textured on the other side, but you can do whatever you want on these. What I love about this texture is when you're doing this, you actually could make it so that the double crochets are all one color. So you could have one background color and just have this part be different colors. The actual texture part, and I'll show you how to do that. So you'll see how I did this one, and then I'll also show you how you can change it to do the other way too. Or you could have it all be solid if you want to. You don't have to do color change. But anyway, so these are our 2. This is called the Floret Stitch. This is the Larksfoot Stitch. We're going to start with the Larksfoot Stitch because I don't know why. There's no reason. I'm just going to do it that way. I'm going to change the camera angle and we'll get going. Hey everybody, this is the layout that I have decided on for my blanket. So it's going to be diagonal. I don't know if you can see that the green is the color that goes right through the middle. And then there's a green on each corner to kind of balance it out. And it all uses 6 squares of each color, so it works out perfectly. And this is the stitch I have decided on, which is the Larksfoot Stitch. And I'm going to use that for my color change stitches, which will go in each of these white squares in here. It's going to be fun. Okay guys, here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started on the Larksfoot. This is the Larksfoot right here. And it's going to be pretty simple. I said it was going to be, I said it was the hardest. When TJ asked about it, I said it was the hardest stitch. It is the hardest stitch, but none of the stitches we chose were hard. So this is considered an intermediate stitch. I don't know who decides that, but probably because it has the extended double crochet, which is right here, and it's not that much different than a regular double crochet, so you'll see it's very easy. So what you want to do is you want to chain in multiples of 4. This is my little video that I'm watching along so that I don't get lost. You want to chain in multiples of 4 and then plus 1. And for me, what I found out is that this piece right here, I did 36 just like I did in the green. But these, for some reason, this one doesn't shrink. So I'm going to go back down to 32 because that is the one that's closest to my other squares. So we're going to go ahead and do 32 plus 1 on this. Okay, so 32 plus 1. Then what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And what that's going to do is that's going to make these 3 our first double crochet. So we're going to do 2 of those. One, 2. 1, 2. There we go. So that is our first set of 3 double crochets. Can you see that? This is the chain up, but it's going to count for the double crochets. So then you want to chain 1, skip this chain, and go into the next one with a double crochet. And then you're going to do basically 3 double crochets in a row. Like that, and then you're going to just keep doing that all the way across. So chain 1, skip 1, and go in double crochet into this next one here. And I will meet you at the end of the row. Last one. So you should have little multiples of 3 all the way across. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 4 is 32. So that is our multiple of 4 plus the extra for in between. So there you go. That's the first row. The next row is going to be super easy. You're just going to chain up 3. This counts right here as your first double crochet in the next group. And what you're going to do is you're going to just copy exactly what you did. You're going to double crochet over the double crochets, chain over the chains, double crochets, chain, double crochets. So it's basically going to look exactly the same on the second row. Just remember that this counts as your first double crochet. So go right into the second one. So there's your first group, chain 1, just like you did over here, and then double crochet into the second group, all the way across. Chain 1, and continue that till you get to the end. Okay, so we are going to change colors. So when you're on the last one, so this is like kind of gonna feel weird because this counts, this is chains right here, but it counts as a double crochet. So you're actually gonna go into the top of that just like it was a double crochet. So 1, 2, here's your third one, right into that chain right there. And then before you finish it, we're gonna change into your next color. Okay, this is where it's gonna get a little weird. We're gonna do, what we wanna do is we want them to go into this over here. So you're gonna go up this chain and then you're gonna do your chain stitch right here. So it just kind of like wobbles it over a little bit. So we're gonna do your chain up 3, turn it, and then that counts as a double crochet. You're gonna chain 1 more because this is the space chain, right? Skip 1 and go into this one. So you're going to double crochet into this one right there. So we've kind of, what we've done is we've sort of moved it over so that it's a little off kilter, and we're going to move it back. You'll see on here that it starts off this way, moves over this way, goes back over that way. So that's the point of this. This is an elongated double crochet. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet, but we're going to go all the way down here. So see how it like reaches down to the other level? That's what we're going to do. And the only thing that's different about that is that you do it just like a regular double crochet. You're going to go all the way down here and grab this, and then you're going to pull it up so it's even with where you were before up here. And then you're going to complete your double crochet just by wrapping and going through those two. Just like that. Super easy, right? It looks very complicated, but it's not. And then we're going to do our next double crochet is going to be in the first one of the next set of 3. Just like that. And there's your first lark's foot. Then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to skip 1, double crochet into this one. And then this is your elongated double crochet all the way down here. Pull it up. And then double crochet like that. And then double crochet into this one. So we're still working in sets of 3. We just scooched it over a little bit. Okay, next one, chain 1, skip 1, do the same thing. Double crochet, elongated double crochet, and double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, do it again all the way across. Okay, so that is your last lark's foot for that side. Then you're going to skip 1 again, and then you're going to do double crochet into the top of this chain 3. So right there. Double crochet, just like that. Okay, so then what we're going to do on our next row, that just like we did on the other row, we're going to basically copy the next set all the way across. So whatever you did here, you're going to do it again, except for when you get over the top of the elongated, you're just going to do a regular double crochet. So chain up 2. Oh, that's the one thing too, is that we are now chaining up 2 on the sides, because when you crochet into the next level, it's not as high up as it was on this side. So you're going to chain up 2. That counts as a double crochet. Chain 1 more. And then you're going to just follow this pattern all the way across. So it's going to be double crochet. Don't do the elongated, just regular double crochet. And double crochet, and then chain 1, skip 1, double crochet all the way across. Okay, here we are at the end of this one, and I'm going to skip 1 and double crochet into the top of this chain 3, which is actually counted as a double crochet. So I think that for beginners, the hardest part of this is going to be the positioning, because see how it's actually pretty easy, but it's all about making sure that you've done the right, just do every other. So this one will be, the 3 will be up against the side. The second group will be, you'll have the double crochet, like a single one of double crochet on the side, and it'll scoot everything over one. And then the next one will be double crochet on the side again. So you'll start to see the pattern happen just like it does in this one. So, sorry, we need to change colors. So basically each grouping is 2 rows. But when you go to count them to see how high up you want to go, you're going to count each of these as 2, because that's a double crochet, that's a double crochet, that's a double, that's a double. So really this is the equivalent of 4 rows. I hope that makes sense if you were doing single crochets. So kind of plan out your colors in that way. As you're going up to the top of your square. So because, you know, that could affect how your colors lay out. You want to definitely make sure that you don't do like half of one of these. You definitely want to finish it at the top. I would like to, if I can manage it, I would like to start with yellow and end with yellow, but that might not happen. So we'll just see. I think it'll be fine either way, just because it is kind of an ombre look. I think it'll work out fine. But okay, so on to the next one. We're going to change to the next color, which for me is green. Go through that. You're going to chain up 2. That counts as your first double crochet. So you have your first double crochet, right? Which is your chain up. Your next one, you're going to go right into that larkspur, the little claw. So you're going to go right into the elongated double crochet all the way down to this space. Pull it up. Double. And the next one. And there you go. That's your next set. So then you're going to chain 1, skip 1, and do the same thing over here. Elongated right there. Chain 1, skip 1. So do you see the pattern starting to form here? You're basically just wherever there's this empty hole, you're going to fill that with the elongated double crochet. And so whatever you have to do to move it over to make that happen, that's what you're doing. So that's why it's like urge this way and then urge back that way. Okay, so this is the last one. It's going to feel really strange. But you're going to do the double crochet. Elongated is going to go down over here. And then the last double crochet, this is going to feel a little strange because you're probably going to have to like pull this out a little bit. This is, you have to go into the top of this chain 2 right here. Right there. Double crochet. That might be the hardest part of the whole thing. Right there. There you go. So then when you head back, you're going to chain up 2, and then you're going to just copy what you just did, going back just like we did before. So it'll be double, 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 skip, double, 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 chain skip, double, 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 chain skip, double, double, just like that all the way across until you have your second row of that, and then you'll do your next color. So hopefully this was pretty easy to understand. I think it is, but if you have any issues with it, please, please, please let me know. I can probably walk you through it, or I can maybe even do like a video chat with you or something, and we can figure it out. I've started doing video chats on Facebook Messenger, and those are super easy. A lot, I mean, especially for just doing one-on-one, they're easier than Zoom, so I can do a video chat with you there. So there you go. This is going to continue to be mine because I'm just going to go, this is what I'm actually going to use for mine, but I'm going to go ahead and cut these off real quick. And then we're going to start on the next one. Okay, so here is the next stitch. So this one is called the Floret Stitch, and I absolutely love it because it has this really cool texture, but it's also a really easy stitch. So it's a little confusing at first, and I'll show you why it's confusing, but it'll turn out really, really cool. And it also is not an open weave like the one that we were just doing. The Larksfoot is a little bit more open weave, just kind of like the shell stitch is also kind of an open weave. So this one's a little bit more, doesn't have quite so many holes in it, and it's a little simpler. So you don't have to worry about those open weaves being right next to each other. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. Okay, so this one, I'm going to link the pattern in the description for this video. She wants you to start in multiples of 3 plus 2. So I'm going to go ahead and do my multiples of 3 is going to be 33 plus 2, and that's how we're going to get started. So that's 33, and then we'll chain up 2. And then she wants you to DC in the 4th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems... So we're going to DC all the way across, which is double crochet, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. So how you guys feeling as we're coming into the close of getting the squares done? This is like the most major part is getting the squares done. And then it just comes down to putting them all together and the little detail stitches. And we're actually going to do details before we put it all together, just so that you kind of, I don't know, it just makes it easier, I think, to do. But we're going to do some top stitching on the plain, like on the plain single crochet one. And you can do stripes, or you can do squares if you want to. If you want to get super fancy, or if you want to do like crisscrosses, you can do that. I'm probably going to just do stripes just to kind of keep the conformity of the blanket, but you can really do whatever you want. And top stitching is super fun, and it goes really fast. And then I might even teach you guys how to applique some, or to make a couple of shapes and applique those on if you're interested in doing that. I'm thinking maybe stars or hearts. But you can tell me what you would like to do as far as an applique would go. And I was thinking about maybe putting those on the gray squares, my gray squares, the ones that had the front and back loop, the second square we did, because those are also, they have a cool texture, but they're also a little plain. So we could maybe do some appliques to go on those. If you want to, you don't have to. If you like to keep them kind of plain, that's cool. But yeah, definitely in the reply, give me an idea of what kind of shapes you would like to see on there. You want a little like sunshine, or I can look into seeing if I can find some cool stuff out there. Peace signs are kind of fun. I always go for hearts and stars. Those are the easiest for me. But if you have a symbol that you feel represents you, we can do that. Whatever gives you joy, right? So the next row is when it gets a little bit weird, but cool. Now I'm actually going to change colors because you can see how I did it so that it has the floret at the top of the double crochets. I'm just going to experiment a little bit and see what it would look like if I did the floret in a different color. So let's do that in a different color. So we'll switch that out. You can do it however you want. It's your fun thing. Okay, so you guys are gonna learn a new stitch. Actually, it's one of the most basic stitches. It's called a slip stitch. And the reason why you guys haven't learned it yet is because we haven't been working in the round. When you start doing things that are circular, you'll do it a lot because that's how you connect things together. But so it slips, we're gonna just chain up one. Even though this row is gonna have some double crochets in it, it's only gonna count as one because we're gonna smush it down. So that's why we're only chaining up one. So that's gonna count as your first slip stitch. Then we're gonna go into the next stitch and we're gonna double crochet. Okay, and then, this is gonna be cool, we're gonna go into this stitch and we're gonna slip stitch. So now what a slip stitch is it's basically just like chaining, but instead of chaining up here in the air, you're gonna chain through something. So you're gonna come down here, don't wrap it, just come down here, grab it, and instead of wrapping it and pulling it through like a single crochet, you're just gonna pull it straight through, just like that. So what's that's doing is that's pushing that stitch down. So that little double crochet, we made like a little bobble right there. So the next one's a double crochet. And the next one is a slip stitch. So straight in, grab it, pull it all the way through. Double crochet and slip stitch. All the way across, just keep doing that. I do want you to notice though, that this part right here, the V's that you're going to be crocheting into on the next stitch, it pushes them backward. So it's going to be a little odd when you go to find them on the next row. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay. There we go. Now, actually, so what I did on this one was the first row was in one color. I continued that. So this would have been continued in yellow on the second row. But I did a different stitch or a different color because I wanted those bobbles to be a separate color. So now I'm going to change colors back to the yellow just for a different look. And then we'll see if we like that look. Otherwise, you can totally do it that way if you want. I'm just curious how it's gonna work out. So we'll switch this back to yellow. And we're gonna chain 2, turn it, and here's where it's gonna get interesting. See those cute little bobbles? We are going to double crochet all the way across, but you wanna do it in, see how the V's have kind of gone to that side over there? They're not up on top like they usually are. You're gonna go into these V's, but they're gonna be back here. So look for them in the back. Go through both just like you would normally. And double crochet all the way across. Remember that the slip stitch V's are going to be smaller, so they're going to be a little harder to get into. And the reason I'm doing it this way too is just so you can kind of see the mechanics of the stitch, because it's kind of hard when both of them, 2 levels are, it almost looks like one stitch, but it's actually 2 different stitches going on there. You see how you have to kind of turn it so that it's almost backwards to be able to see that V. Okay, when you get to the end on this one, you have to look for that last slip stitch. Otherwise you will lose your number on it. So make sure you grab that last one and pull that through. Otherwise they'll start to get smaller and smaller. So the difference, you can see the difference between this one and these ones. So, and this is what the back looks like on it. So if that's a look that you like, it's gonna be flat on the back, but you'll still have the stripe in there. Or you can do this with, it has the cool thing, but it'll just on the back, it'll just be like single, or like almost look like just plain double crochet stripes. So the difference between this one and this one is that you would do the first 2 rows in one color and then the next 2 rows in the next color, and so forth and so on. Good luck with that. I hope that you like those 2 stitches. And if you have any other issues or you need some help on these, please, please, please reply and let me know that you need help, and I will help you through it because we're all learning it together. And then the next thing, I'm gonna take a little bit, let you guys catch up a little bit. I might take a little bit of a break because there is a really cute thing that I wanna do for my daughter. She just started her bakery business today, and I found the really cutest stitch that goes with her logo. So I might make her a lot of, because most of her business is going to be done online, it's going to be very photographic. So I was going to make her a cool little like placemat so that she can put her cookies and treats and stuff on top of it, and it has her logo in the background. I'll show you. Here's a cute picture. Isn't that cool? So cute. Anyway, so I'm going to work on that. It shouldn't take me too long, but that'll maybe give you guys a chance to kind of get caught up to where I'm at, and then we'll start talking about doing some top stitching on our next video. So talk to you guys soon. See ya.